Hello, everybody, and thanks for listening. So, I'm coming back at you with another video. And what's up with people comparing people to slaves, y'all? What is going on? That happened with Lizzo and someone that was being critical of her, comparing her to slaves. And now Eddie Murphy is being compared to a slave, according to the publicist. Let's get into this. Okay. So I am not going to hold back, but Cosby was heated. And believe it or not, Nicole Murphy got involved in this, in the drama. So we have top stories here coming from the Grapevine, BET.com, and TMZ. Nicole Murphy throws shade at Bill Cosby over Eddie Murphy attack. And what initially happened? Bill, we cannot blame white people. Cosby accuses Eddie Murphy of cooning. Nicole Murphy claps back at Bill Cosby for Hollywood slave attack. And so he compared him to a slave. Said that he is a Hollywood slave again. And I saw that in a previous article where Bill Cosby's publicist, according to Bill Cosby, or allegedly according to Bill Cosby, super say that, but it looks like it is coming from Bill Cosby, believe it or not. So Bill Cosby, we cannot blame white people. Cosby accuses Eddie Murphy of cooning in a statement regarding an SNL joke. And that's where it initially came from, because if you didn't know or not, Eddie Murphy is back doing SNL, which is Saturday Night Live. So to my right is Eddie Murphy, and to my left is Bill Cosby. And someone, I guess, that I usually see this guy that's always with Bill Cosby. He's always with him. So he's, guiding him and walking him. And I guess he's part of his group that's protective of Cosby. So Tanya Renee Stidham, Monday at 9:45 a.m. So let's get into how this initially started. So Bill Cosby arrives with his spokesman, Andrew Wyatt, and that's who that guy is always with him, with Bill Cosby. And I noticed that he's with him in court, out of court. And so this was at the Montgomery County Courthouse for sentencing in his sexual assault trial, September 24th, 2018. In Norristown, PA. Eddie Murphy speaks on stage during the WSJ magazine. It was 2019, so it was an awards show on November the 6th, 2019 in New York. And so those are photos. Okay, so anyway, here it goes. Eddie Murphy appeared to have the best time of his life during his return to Saturday Night Live. So he returned to Saturday Night Live, and his first as a host since 1984. And naturally, his appearance was not without controversy. So during his opening monologue, Eddie Murphy referenced Bill Cosby's sexual assault conviction, for which he was sentenced to at least 3 years in prison. So that's where all of this got started. And so it goes on to say, but if you would have told me 30 years, this is what he was saying, Eddie Murphy, that is. And I'll let you see it in a few minutes. But he goes on to say, but if you would have told me 30 years ago that I would be this boring stay-at-home house dad and Bill Cosby would be in jail, even I would have took that bet. Eddie Murphy said before uttering the following using Cosby's impersonation, "Who is America's dad now?" And so, don't believe it? Here it goes. And some of you that watch SNL regularly, I know you've already seen this, so this is pretty much like a repeat. But here it goes, without further ado.
Ladies and gentlemen, Eddie Murphy! Thank you so much. Thank you. It's great to be back here finally, hosting Saturday Night Live for Christmas. This is the last episode of 2019, but if you're black, this is the first episode since I left back in 1984. It's been a really long time. It's actually a picture of me back when I first started. Yeah, I look at least 5 years younger there. And you know what they always say, money don't crack. So much has changed. I actually just had a new baby just about a year ago. That means I have 10 kids now. 11 if you count Kevin Hart. I'm kidding, I love Kevin Hart. I'm just teasing. My kids are actually pretty much my whole life now. And you know what? But if you would have told me 30 years ago that I would be this boring, stay-at-home, house dad, and Bill Cosby would be in jail, even I would have took that bet. I'll tell you, who is America's dad now? Yeah, I also have a new movie right now that's playing on Netflix called Dolomite Is My Name. And we just finished shooting a Coming to America sequel, too. So if you're wondering why I've been working so hard lately, it's because 10 kids are very expensive. Yeah, good to be here.
You know, I would miss this show for all the teen in Arizona. Yeah. So did you get the sketch I wrote for you?
Oh yeah, the Jimmy Walker.
Yeah, it's called Dynamite Is My Name.
I don't know if we're gonna do that. Dynamite Is My Name.
Whatever, if you need, I got you. I got your back.
Okay.
If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. Like literally, I was conceived on a delirious tour bus.
That math doesn't really quite add up. Hey, man! Good luck, ladies and gentlemen! Chris Rock, what are you doing here?
Come on, man. I wouldn't miss this for the world. My kids love Lizzo.
Hey, watch out. My kids love Lizzo, too.
Okay, but check it out. Did you get my sketch?
Oh, yeah, that, the Law and Order UTI sketch?
Yeah, but instead of iced tea, it's cranberry juice.
That sounds kind of nasty for a Christmas show.
Hey!
What a moment we're having!
Did you get my sketch?
Oh, yeah.
It's the one where T.I. has to drive through gynecology clinic.
But I didn't get that one, though.
It's stupid. We just said stuff like, I will check your hymen expeditiously. Anyway, I followed your blueprint for my entire career.
Did you?
Yeah, I became the biggest star on television, and I quit.
Hey, you know, I didn't know you could smoke on stage.
You can't.
See, this is why I came back to Saturday Night Live for moments like this. Like, when was the last time we was together like this?
Last Thursday at Sinbad's.
All right, now you're looking at half of Netflix butt right here on screen.
Thanks, Netflix.
Thanks, Netflix.
Not me. Not me. I made all my millions on the road.
You mean touring?
No, I got hit by a truck.
Well, I'm glad we're all here to support me, and I really appreciate your being here.
It's the least we.
So, without further ado, I wanted to go further into the rest of the article. So that was part, or at least the majority of the monologue for Eddie Murphy. So Mr. Cosby became the first black to win an Emmy for his role in I Spy, and Mr. Cosby broke color barriers in the entertainment industry, so that blacks like Eddie Murphy, Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart, etc. could have an opportunity to showcase their talents for many generations to come. So Cosby's spokesperson, Andrew Wyatt, said in a statement obtained by CNN, "It is sad that Mr. Murphy would take this glorious moment of returning to SNL and make a disparaging remark about or against Mr. Cosby." So one would think that Mr. Murphy was given his freedom to leave the plantation so that he could make his own decisions, but he decided to sell himself back into being a Hollywood slave. Stepping and fetching plus cooning equals the destruction of black men in Hollywood. And so Amir Vera, a spokesman for Cosby, has fired back at Eddie Murphy after the comedian made jokes at Cosby's expense during his opening monologue on Saturday Night Live, SNL. So that's the report. So the full statement. So let me read this. Sunday, December 22nd, 2019 at 3 p.m., Mr. Cosby became the first black male to win, or a black person to win, an Emmy for his role in I Spy, and Mr. Cosby broke color barriers in the entertainment industry so that blacks like Eddie Murphy, Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart, and etc. could have the opportunity to showcase their talents for many generations to come. So it is sad that Mr. Murphy would take this glorious moment of returning to SNL and make disparaging remarks against Mr. Cosby. One would think that Mr. Murphy has given his freedom, to leave the plantation so that he could make his own decisions, but he decided to sell himself back to being a Hollywood slave. Steppin', fetchin', plus coonin' equals the destruction of black men in Hollywood. Remember Murphy, that Bill Cosby. So, the steppin', fetchin' line is considerably hypocritical given Cosby's "you cannot blame white people" or "are you not paying attention?" people with their hat on backwards, pants down around their crack sound bites during his infamous pound cake speech in 2004. So Cosby has since admitted the speech was a mistake, but not for the respectability politics surrounding what he said, but simply because he didn't want it to appear as if he was speaking about all of African Americans. So he then doubled down on his speech, noting, "They are under siege. This thing with the drugs and the different pockets of the neighborhoods where it's going on. When you look at what drugs are doing, things that make people drive around and shoot into crowds, the insanity of what is the cause to the brain by all of the drugs these people are dealing with. It's exactly what I warned them about in 2004. They've thrown education out the window. And so Bill Cosby shares more pound cake from prison. So in a wide-ranging interview that spanned multiple phone calls. And so it even has his prisoner number. And so he basically is pretty much saying the same things he said before. And so that came from out of the grapevine, the root. And let's get into our other articles, because I want to be very thorough and I want to share all of the other articles. So let's go to a Nicole Murphy clapback. Okay, so Nicole Murphy claps back at Bill Cosby for Hollywood slave attack on Eddie Murphy, and this is coming from out of the BET.com. And here is Nicole Murphy pictured here. Nicole Murphy claps back at Bill Cosby for Hollywood slave attack on Eddie Murphy. And so Eddie Murphy made a triumphant return to Saturday Night Live. I'm going to turn that down. And so one of the most memorable moments was when the actor and comedian delivered his opening monologue, during which he took a few jabs at Bill Cosby. So apparently the word got around to Bill Cosby, of course, in prison, where Cosby's currently serving an 8-year sentence for sexual assault. And Cosby's publicist responded to Murphy's comments by calling him a Hollywood slave, among the other things of calling him. And so while social media went wild reacting to the statement made by the publicist, perhaps the best response is coming from Murphy's ex-wife. And TMZ also got this. So recently they caught up, this is TMZ, who caught up with Eddie Murphy's Nicole Murphy and asked her about the Cosby, or what Cosby thought of Eddie Murphy in his return to SNL. So that's unfortunate, she said, but you know, look who's in jail and look who's not. Ding. So Nicole was also asked if she believes Eddie Murphy should take over the new moniker as the America's Dad, a term Bill Cosby was labeled with prior to his sexual assault convictions. I don't know if he's America's Dad, because there's a lot of great fathers out there as well, but I know he's a wonderful dad, so I'm going to give him the trophy for myself, I should say. So watch the interview segment below. And so I'm going to show that. And then I will end this video and probably...
I mean, we put the brown down, you know what I'm saying? We're drinking blue. Sure. Toast out of that.
Everyone was talking about Eddie's performance, right?
Oh, yeah.
And the kids went too.
Yes.
So look, there was some, you said, claimed himself as America's new dad. Right? He kind of took a shot at
It was very funny.
It was very funny. But do you think he's taking the crown? Is he America's free tank? Is he America's
You know
dad
what?
now?
I don't know if he's America's dad, because there's a lot of great fathers out there as well.
Yeah.
But I know he's a wonderful dad.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give him the trophy myself.
There it is, man. That's amazing. Hey, you know, there was some question. You know, Bill Cosby's attorney was like getting on Twitter, social media, taking shots.
Oh, come on.
I know, a lot of people were going, and the words he used, I don't even want to
That's
use.
silly. Yeah. Well, you know what? That's unfortunate, but you know, look who's in jail. Everybody knows.
So that's basically, sorry for the interruption down below. I guess there is another video going as this video is going. So let me see. I don't know if I can redo.
Everyone was talking about Eddie's performance.
Oh yeah.
And the kids went too, right?
Yes.
So look, there was some. He said he claimed himself as America's new dad.
So, yeah, so, oh Lord, it's crazy. But anyway, yeah, I'm sharing it. Silly me.
Right? So you kind of took a shot.
It was very funny though.
It was very fun. But do you think he's taking the crown? Is he America's? He take it? Is he America's?
You know what? Now? I don't know if he's America's dad because there's a lot of great fathers out there as well.
Yeah.
But I know he's a wonderful dad.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give him the trophy myself.
There it is, man. That's amazing. Hey, there was some question. Bill Cosby's attorney was like getting on Twitter, on social media, taking shots. He called Eddie a
Oh, come on.
I know, a lot of people were going, and the words he used, I wouldn't even want to
So
repeat.
silly. Yeah. Well, you know what? That's unfortunate, but look who's in jail. But no.
So there you have it, and I just wanted you to see what I have witnessed so far over the past week. And as what is it with this comparing all these people to slaves? These up and coming successful individuals, and then some that have already been very successful, and they're continuing on their success. So I don't know what's going on, but there is a lot going on. A lot has been going on lately on social media with having to do with Eddie Murphy's come back to SNL, and all of this debacle, this little thing. It's not something big, but it's kind of crazy. I feel like this. What do you think? I feel like this. I feel that there is some resentment because Eddie Murphy is now pretty much at the status, high up in terms of the comedian world. He's looked now like more like legendary, and I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but as of now, he's looking pretty good compared to Bill Cosby and what has happened with his stature in Hollywood, which he once stood at the pinnacle of his career, and he's just pretty much stripped of everything. Even his star in Hollywood, they took it off the streets, y'all. I don't know if you saw that, but they did, and it was even broadcast on the news and media. And so anyway, with that I'm just gonna let this video go, but this is crazy, but we'll see where this takes us. But anyway, with this video, this is I'm sure we'll see other things that will come out of this, other critics that will come forth and say whatever it is that they have to say. But I feel like this, I mean, you can't knock it. He is doing good, Eddie Murphy. I mean, he's got the Dolomite. I don't know if you saw that Netflix movie, but it turned out to be pretty good. I'd have to say it turned out to be pretty. It gave you another outlook on who Dolomite really was. It gave you some insight on who he was, and he played the character really well. And if you didn't see it, you gotta see it. So I don't want to ruin it for anybody that hasn't saw it. Also, he did say in his video in SNL that he has a new Coming to America that is going to be happening. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be some people that are going to turn out for that. So having said this, I'm going to leave this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and thank you for listening. Happy holidays.